Hey everyone, Nate here from the Renegades, and this is a video that I've been thinking about making now for the last couple of years. Um, it's something that once again, I've been debating with myself to put this video out because part of me, the biggest part of me wants to just put this behind me. It wants to move on. It wants to just like air it out and just let it lie because I'm sick and tired of just dealing with this. I'm sick and tired of feeling this way. It's been something that I've been holding on to for the last 20 years of my life, and I'm just done letting it hold me back. And there's also a part of me that doesn't want to put this out. There's part of me that wants to just just not say anything at all because, well, biggest reasons is because there's things that I'm going to discuss in this that make me very uncomfortable. And while there are things I'm not going to say because of just how graphic they are and how personally uncomfortable I am with it, there's things I'm not going to say, but there's also the fact that me putting this out there may change the way a lot of you see me and a lot of you perceive me. And if that's the case, then it is what it is. And I don't really know what else to say about it except for I hope that this video, if this video is too much for you, I understand. This video will not be for everybody. I mean, YouTube may very well age gate this. I mean, I'm not monetizing this. I refuse to. I refuse to monetize things that are personal to me like this. And I'm not going to monetize I'm not going to monetize my pain like this because this is not. It's not why I do this. But I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. I'll say what the subject of this video is about. Um, I'll just. My name is Nathan Hamilton, and I am a victim of sexual abuse and sexual manipulation. And I know there's going to be some people out there asking, why, Nate? Why put this out? Why now? My main reasons are as follows. Like I said, I've been holding on to this for 20 years. 23 years, technically. I was 12 when this happened, and here in the next couple days, I'm going to be turning 36, so, Jesus. I am an old man. But, yeah, I've been holding on to this for over 20 years, and it's something that I thought that wasn't affecting me anymore, but a couple years ago, I received some news about something, and ever since then, like, my mind's been swirling about it, and I told people. I hadn't told anybody in over 20 years, and 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, I guess, my mom, I told my mom, I told my dad, I told the people who were most important to me, and it's a very, very, very like bad experience for me, and the more I've told like the people who I trust, and the more that they have loved me and embraced me and everything, I can't thank them enough. I can't thank I'm blessed to have such great family and friends to be there for me. I just can't express that enough. I am so grateful to my family and friends for being there for me throughout this. And it's through them and through my talkings with them and my ability to like converse with them that I've actually been able to come to the conclusion with confidence that I need to put this video out. And I guess I'm gonna be turning 36. The channel's 10th anniversary is here, so I'm feeling very nostalgic about like the last 10 years of my life and the life that I've been blessed with because of all of you as well. Thank you all so much. And also the personal and physical changes that I've been going through in the last 6 months have had a very strong impact on me, and like my weight loss, my mental health improving, and I've just I feel great now, and I feel like this will help me get over the hump to where I can fully get over this and become a better person. Well, I guess there's no way of just like I'll start back at the beginning. I'll start 2001. My parents were in the midst of getting a divorce. My dad and my mom were both like very much embroiled in that, and me and my sister were caught in the middle. And because I didn't know the full details of what happened between my parents, I blamed myself. And then not only that, but I was also having problems at school. My grades weren't that good, and my friends had basically, I was alienated from all my friends. Some of them had moved away. Others I had basically I had been friends with for a while, but then they moved on to do other things, and I had nobody. I was all alone. And it was like that for a little while in the beginning of the year, but then I found two guys who I was pretty cool with. They'd been friends for a while, and then they invited me to hang out with them. So I went and I hung out with them. I went over to their houses, and we played video games, talked about movies. We just had fun, and it was a great time. It's the first time I actually had people that I could hang out with, and it was great. And then I remember the oldest one. The two friends. We were all in the same grade, but one was a year older than us. He got held back a year, and then the other one was about the same age as me. But the eldest one went into his parents' room, and he got out some weed, some cannabis, and he started to smoke it, and he asked me if I wanted to take part. And I'd been in DARE programs before. I knew all about all that, and I didn't really care, so I just said to heck with it, and I did it. At 12 years old, I smoked weed for the first time, and I got to be honest, I liked how it felt. It made me forget about a lot of the stuff that was going on in my life, and I didn't think about the shit that was going on in my life that was making me miserable. So yeah, that's basically what we did for a little while. And then I remembered we went over to we went over to my friend, my eldest friend. I was at his house, and then he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna go buy some stuff. I'm gonna go buy some weed now, and we're gonna ride over to so and so's house, our other friend. We're gonna ride over to his house. Then we're gonna all get on our bikes together, and we're gonna ride to the dealer's house." So we did that. We went over. We picked up our friend. He got on his bike, and we all rode to the trailer park together. I knew this trailer park. I'd driven by it multiple times, and I went in there, and I basically just we went into the trailer park, and we went up to the door, knock knock, and the guy came to the door. He asked what we wanted, and we exchanged money, and he gave us what we wanted, and we got on our bikes and we left. We did this a few times, and then very slowly the dealer started coming out on the porch more, talking with us more. He was a dude who was in his early 30s. I think he was 31, 32 at the time. I can't remember, but I just remember we went over to his house, and we went over to his trailer, and we started talking to him. And I remember we were out on his porch for a little bit, for about a good 10 minutes, just talking to him. And then he asked if we wanted to come in. So we did. And I remember I walked into his place, and he had his living room. And then in his living room was a big entertainment center with a big TV and a PlayStation 2, which was brand new at the time. It was the biggest and best thing, and he had all these games for it. He had all these PlayStation 1 games that you could play on it, and I was in heaven. I was just like, oh my gosh, we can play you have all these games. And I asked him hey man, can we play some of these games? He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I remember we sat there, we turned on the TV, and just it was so cool. And we sat there, we smoked a bit, we had fun, and everything was good. And we did that a couple times, and then one time I came over, and this one time we came over, we walked in. He opened the door for us. We walked in, and there was a girl. There was a woman sitting over in the kitchen. She was sitting behind this little square table that they had in the kitchen, and she was just sitting in there. And he introduced us to her, and he said that this is my girlfriend. And I said, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And she, at first, like, I didn't know what to make of her and everything, but then we went over and we sat down on the couch, and I started playing games with my friends, and then she came over and she sat on the couch next to us, and she said, hey, what are y'all playing? And, we started hanging out there. She was interested in video games, and she basically was just, commenting like, hey, jump up there. Or, oh, man, you died. Oh, come on, you're better than that. Just teasing us and stuff like that. And then she basically just, like, we became friends that way. We bonded over games. And then we did that a few times. We came over a few more times. I think it was around April or so when this happened. It was in the middle of spring, and I remembered I went over there with my friends, and the dealer basically said, hey man, I don't have enough to give you right now for the money that you're giving me, so I'm going to drive down to my homeboy's place, and I'm going to get some from him, and I'll break off whatever I owe you. So can we do that? And we were all just like, yeah, it works for me, that's cool. And he said, okay, I'm going down there right now, do y'all want to join me? And we were like, yeah dude, cool, it works for me. So he told us, like, oh, I only have enough room for two, because he had a 4-seat car, but in the back seat of his car, like, one side of the car was just completely just filled with stuff. It was just like random junk and stuff like that. And he said, I can have one in the front seat, one in the back seat. I can't take all of you. So basically, he was just like, okay. And then we talked about it, and my friends said that they wanted to go, and I said, okay, I'll stay here and I'll play games then. It's cool with me. And I was a little bummed out, but I didn't mind it that much. I mean, I could play whatever games I wanted. And I remembered I was sitting there and I was playing games, and then I hear a door open at the other end of the hallway, like down the hall, and I hear someone walking out, and it's her. It's the girlfriend, and it's the dealer's girlfriend. She walks out, and she says, oh hey, where is everybody? And I said, oh, they went down to so-and-so's place to get more stuff. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. And she goes over into the kitchen. She sits down at the table and everything. And then she comes back over after a little bit, and she sits down next to me, and she says, what are you playing? And I said, oh, it's a new game. It's this one here. And she's like, okay, cool. And then she's sitting there with me. She sits there with me for about 5 minutes. And then I'm sitting there playing. I'm like laser focused on playing the game. And then she like scoots really, really close to me, like right next to me, and I didn't think much of it, but there, you know those visceral reactions you get whenever like there's certain things like a smell or a sound or a feel or something. For me, it was a smell. When she came near me, it was a mix of a perfume that she was wearing, a perfume and cigarettes. And I remembered she sat next to me, and I could smell the perfume and the cigarettes, and it made me a little just like, it made me aware that she was there and everything. And I was sitting there and I was playing, and then she like leans up against me, and then she like leans her head on this shoulder here, and I was just like, just like not really caring that much. And as she's leaning her head against me, she then reaches down and she grabs onto me. And at first when she does this, I did not know what to think. I froze for a little bit, and I literally I was like what's going? And then I look down, see what's going on, and then I look over at her, and she is looking right at me. She is staring me right in the eyes, and she asks me, she says, does that feel good? And I couldn't respond. I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say or do. Um, and I want to emphasize this as well. I was 12. I found out later she was 29. I found out that she was 29 and I was 12 years old. So yeah, that's more than twice the age difference. So anyway, just back to it. She basically like led me back to the bedroom and everything, and then she like sits me down on the bed. She shuts the door, locks the door, and then proceeded to. That was when I lost my virginity. I was 12, and it was with a 29-year-old woman, and you know. There was a time in my life I actually thought that was a cool thing. I thought that was cool, I thought that was cool, It's like a 12-year-old losing, lost it to a 29-year-old. But then, everything else that happened. But here's the creepy thing for me now is I have nieces and nephews who are around that age. I personally know people who are in their late 20s, early 30s. And if I ever saw or found out that they were involved with any of my nieces or nephews, I would kill them. Legitimately. If I found that out, just the fact that I was just the fact that it was you don't realize it at the time, but the older you get, the more you realize how messed up the situation is, and it was super messed up. But I didn't realize that at the time. And plus everything else that happened, which I remember after my first time, I basically would just like what's going to happen now? Like what if he finds out? Like her boyfriend, the dealer, what if he finds out? And then she basically told me, she's like, don't worry, don't say anything. I won't say anything, but don't say anything because if he finds out, he'll kill you or he'll kill me, then he'll kill you. I was horrified at that point. I didn't know. I was just like all these thoughts running through my head again, and I was like really, really just on edge. And then she basically just told me like, it's okay. As long as you don't say anything, nothing's going to happen. I promise. She kept saying that to me. She kept saying, I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. And she basically just like opened the door to the bedroom and just went back in there and like I didn't even play games anymore. I just sat there. Dumbfounded. And then they got back and then I didn't say anything. I was too afraid to say anything. And I remembered that I kept coming back and there would be times where it'd be me and her again, and then it would happen again. Like she would prey on me again, and it just kept happening again and again and again over the span of the next like 3 months. And I remembered during that time I'd turned 13, and I remember she teased me one time. She was just like, "Oh, it's like you turned 13? Oh, it basically means you're a man now." And it was also during this time where she took me back there. That she took me back into her bedroom and she manipulated me into doing things that honestly I had no idea what I was doing, but she manipulated me into doing stuff that some things that were a bit uncomfortable, and then there were some things that were very, very, very uncomfortable. And I told her no. I told her, to stop, to not do that. And I remember one time I told her that, and she didn't stop. She kept like pushing the envelope, and then I remember I got mad at her, and I remember that I was very mad at her, and then she said, "I'm so sorry. I won't do that again. I promise. I'm so sorry. I just thought you'd be into that." And I'm right then and there I was just I got more uncomfortable around her, and then she noticed that, and then she basically just coerced me back into like just doing our regular thing. And then she basically told me that, you know, she started to feel something for me. She said, I feel a certain way about you, and I said, well, I really like being with you. I I didn't know what to say. I was 13 when this whole stuff started to happen, and then I remembered it was around July. It was around July that I sorry about that, everybody. That was a text from my mom. I had to respond to that real quick. My apologies. But anyway, oh God, where was I? So yeah, it was about July whenever we started to, I went over there, and when I went over there, I basically had a key to their place because they trusted us enough to where we could just go in and we could just chill there, or whenever we wanted to, we could just go in there and play games or whatever. She told me where the spare key was because there were times where she basically wanted me to come over, and I remembered I came over, and I didn't. I came over unannounced, and I thought I'd go in there and I'd hang out with them, but I saw that their car was gone. But I went in there and no one was home. So I was just like, okay, I guess I'll just hang out here and I'll just play games or whatever until either one of them or both of them get home. So I'm sitting there and I'm sitting there and I'm just playing games, and I just remembered I looked off to the side beside there was a little end table next to the entertainment center, and there were movies on there. They had like VHS tapes. And I remembered I went up and I looked over there and I looked at the table, and there was one that was marked there. It didn't have any like markings on it, so it wasn't a movie. It was like a home video, and on the front of it was written. There were $2 in like this white ink, and I remembered I looked at it and I was like, I wonder what this is. And I remembered I put the video in, and when I put the video in, first it was static, and then a picture came up, and when the picture came up, I immediately knew what was being videoed. It was her bedroom. It was hers and the dealer's bedroom, and I remembered I was sitting there, and as soon as the picture comes up, I see her like run out of the side of the room and leave the room, and then about a good 5 minutes later, she came back into the room with me, and right there on video, it was me and her. It was me and her, and it was one of those times where at first it was normal, and then she manipulated me into doing something that I was uncomfortable with, and I told her like I when I told her like I didn't know about this, and she told me like it's okay, don't worry about it, everything will be all right, I promise. And then I just remembered like the whole like I sat there and I watched as like this happened on screen, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was seeing this like when you're experiencing it from your own perspective, you can't imagine what it looks like from the outside looking in. But I got a good view of everything from the outside looking in from the camera view, and just it started to horrify me. It started to sicken me from what I was seeing. I couldn't bear what I was looking at. So I remembered I was sitting there. I still had a controller in my lap, and I remembered I pressed stop. I threw the controller down on the ground, and I went out the front door. I closed it, and I didn't lock it or anything, and I just left. I left, got on my bike. I rode up to my grandma's house. It was the closest house to me. I rode up there, and I just remembered like I didn't say anything to anybody. My grandma asked me what was wrong. I told her nothing. I was just like really tired from like riding up here, and I immediately then started thinking about what if someone else sees this? How many of those tapes are there? Like who is in possession of these tapes? Like, is this the only one? Or and that's one thing that's terrified me for a long time, is that there's a video out there of me on VHS with all of that out there, and that scares me. That terrifies me to my core, that's out there somewhere. And there was also the fear that if I said anything to anybody, that her promise, what would happen if I talked, not only would he kill her, but he'd kill me. And like, who else would he kill? Like my grandma, my mom, my dad, my sister. Like who else? Who else would be hurt by this? And I just, for the longest time, I just went through life, and I just never dealt with this. I never talked to anyone about this because I was afraid. I never said anything to anyone because I was afraid. I never told mom. I didn't tell mom about it, like I said, until 2 years ago. Just over 2 years ago, I told her. And the reason why I told her, the reason why I opened up to her about it, was because I moved on in life and I thought that I was past it. I moved on in life. I thought I was over this. And then I read online, on Facebook, there was an obituary. And it was her. Turns out she died of a fentanyl overdose. And when I found this out, I was taken aback for a second. I couldn't believe that she was dead. But not only that, but I also read through the obituary more, and I found out that she had 2 kids. I found out that she had a kid that was 17 and another kid that was 13. And I was just, I couldn't believe, like, I said to myself, I was like, oh my God, like, those kids, I started to worry about those kids. I was like, did she do the same thing to those kids? Did she subject those kids to that? And once again, that's the reason why I'm not naming names in this, because I don't want anyone else to get hurt from this. And here's the thing, I know how the internet is. If I name names, if I say names, people are going to do research and they're going to find things out. And the number one thing is that her kids, I don't want to do anything that... I don't know her kids. I've never met her kids. And the biggest thing is I don't want to know her kids. But I don't want anyone to pester them. I don't want anyone to bring anything up about it to them. I'm willing to just let it... I want to let it go and just let the pain stop here with me. I want the pain stops here. That's all I want out of this. I don't want anyone else to get hurt from this. I don't want anyone else to wind up being scarred by this shit. I am just done holding on to it, and I don't want to throw anything else out there that's going to wind up getting anyone else hurt. And I know there's going to be people who want to attribute blame. Like me, I've thought a long time about who to blame, and I know there's going to be people who, would like, where were the parents? Where was this? Where was that? I want to just squash this right here and now. My parents had nothing to do with this. My parents were not the ones that did that to me. It was her. It was my abuser who did that to me. Not my mom, not my dad, not anyone else. It was her. My parents were embroiled in their own stuff, in their own personal stuff, with the divorce and everything, and finding new, and plus my dad having to find a new job because he just got fired from his old job that he'd had for 10 years, and I don't attribute any blame whatsoever to my family. My family is the only reason that I'm here. I want to emphasize that my family is the only reason that I'm here right now, and my family and my friends. Because I've been able to open up to them over the last couple of years, since I felt comfortable talking about this. Um, I my family, my friends have been the ones that have been there for me, and I can't I can't bear the thought of anyone else being hurt by this. I can't. So, well, I know that's going to make some people mad. Heck, there's probably going to be people out there who do enough research anyway to find out, like what her name is and everything. And all I can say is that please just refrain. I'm begging you, please. I don't want anyone else to get hurt from this. Please. This is something that that I will carry and I will deal with for the rest of my life, but it's not going to be who I am. I am moving past this. I am putting it behind me, and that's all I can really bear to say at this point because um, I don't know what the future holds, but I know that this will not be a part of it anymore, and this won't be something that I'm holding on to, and it's going to be just like ticking like a time bomb waiting to go off. So I wanted to I wanted to make this video because I wanted to just let people know that you don't have to be afraid to talk about this stuff. And if this reaches somebody that helps them get through it, and because believe me, I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready to talk about this for a long time. And there were also a bunch of other things that happened later that year that I really wish to God that I would have been able to, like, things would have been different, but it wasn't. And yeah, hindsight's always 2020. You can always look back and say, "Oh, I would have done this different," or "Oh, I would have done that different." But in the moment, you never know. And that's the scariest part. Is that you never know how big of an impact something like that's going to have on you. And I wasn't ready for it, but I wasn't ready for it then, but I'm ready for it now, and I'm ready to put it past me, and I'm ready to just move on with my life. I'm sick and tired of being scared. I'm sick and tired of being angry. I'm sick and tired of just not being able to move on in my life. So I've thought about, just like holding on to the hate, or just letting it seethe, but then I've come to the conclusion that now I have to let things go. I have to let things go, and I have to forgive. I have to forgive in order to move on. And I can confidently say here and now, I forgive her for what she did to me. I forgive her for what she did to me, what she took from me, something that I'm never going to get back as long as I live. And I want to thank my family and my friends for being there for me throughout the whole ordeal, for when I was finally comfortable enough to talk about this, and for being there for me, and for helping me through this as much as they have. And I want to thank my mom and my dad both, because what they were going through at the time and what was happening with them, they both, like, as soon as I told them, they apologized to me, and they told me that they were sorry, that they were there. Sorry, I'm just. I thought I would make it through this without crying. I I I I tried to make it through last night. I tried to make this video last night and I couldn't. I kept breaking up halfway through and I get so close to finishing this off, but just I couldn't hold it back anymore, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I but I'll just finish that thought and then I'll move on. My parents apologized to me because they were so sorry with what happened, and they apologized and they wish that they could have done something. And again, I don't blame them. My parents had nothing to do with what happened to me. I don't blame my parents. I don't blame anyone else. I blame the person who did this to me. And now after 20 plus years and after her passing away, I say, I forgive you. I forgive, and I'm wanting to move on from this, and that's the only thing that I can think of to do. Sorry, that was my mom again. She was wanting to see if I was doing okay. I went over to her house earlier and helped her a bit, and she had a couple of questions for me. I'm sorry about that. But my parents, I don't blame them. I don't blame anyone else. I blame the woman who did this to me, and I forgive her for what she's done to me. She's dead and buried, and I have nothing else to say about her. I have nothing else to put out there. I've aired out my dirty laundry, and I'm just done. I am moving on. I'm moving forward with my life, and I am moving into a new phase of my life where I want to be happy, and I don't want to think about this shit anymore. And I know that there's going to be people out there who are going through something similar, and if this reaches you and if this helps you, then I hope that it does. Just know that you're not alone. You're not alone in this. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. It can literally happen to anybody. And I just want everyone to know that, I'm okay. I'm good. And I'm happy that I was able to get this out. I'm happy that I was able to express myself properly, even though I did break up there at the end a little bit. But yeah, I just want to say thank you all so much for sticking with me through this. I know this was a long one, and it was just all me talking, and I'm sorry about that, but I just can't. I couldn't bear to hold on to this anymore without saying something. And just, once again, everybody, this is about moving on. I'm done holding on to the past. I'm done letting it drag me down. Don't let your past drag you down too. Don't let my past make you feel bad or drag you down. Just learn from the lessons just learn from the lessons of life. Get better. And know what to avoid, and know where to, and know what to do. I just try your best to live your best life. So anyway, thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me through this. Again, I know I rambled a little bit. I know I was a little too detailed with certain things, but I want to thank all of you so much. And until next time, I'm Nate. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.